Merry meet. Annie here, moving her computer because it's making noise, which you don't have to listen to, do you? Hopefully the camera won't pick that up now. If it does, I'm sorry for the hum in the background. You know how your computers start doing weird things in the background and you have no clue what they're doing? Oh well, it's the gremlins in the computers. I'm here to do this week's YouTube Pagan Challenge, which is on divination. I use several forms of divination. Different times in my life I've been more called to one or another. The first form of divination I actually learned was working with stones. And we were not taught a specific way to work in stones. In fact, the teaching from our teacher was to come up with our own way. And it was really good because it encourages us to invent what suits us all along in our practice. So it was a good learning experience that way. And it also brought me close to the stones as a form of divination. So stone casting was my first experience of that. And divination to me, even early on in my practice, has never been so much about foretelling directly. It's just not where my understanding of the flow of time goes and what we can learn from anything we use as a form of exploration. Divination to me, all forms of divination, have been a spiritual tool. They have been a guideline, a way to access my inner wisdom, and if I'm doing the readings for someone else, theirs. It doesn't mean, though, that they don't align us to our future or allow us to see the patterns that are being established that we want to flow with or we want to break. So it's not disconnected from a foretelling in the sense of all the forms of divination I've ever worked with have been powerful to me and to those I've read for, if that's what they were into, because of the journey within that connects us to what's happening outside of ourselves. So recognition in great detail of who we are and who we are in relation to. So the first thing I did was come up with my own system for casting stones. We also worked with staves at that point, so runes. And runes really were, I was consumed by runes for a long time. I still am to a certain extent. I still have a passion for everything I've ever worked with. And early on, which if you follow my Tarot Together series, not that many do, but it's there for those who are interested in a deeper study of the tarot. I shared in that I didn't have much luck with the tarot in my 20s and even my 30s. I don't know, maybe too many cards or too many symbols, and it just didn't click for me. But my 40s it started calling to me, but the problem was I was in a time in life I didn't have a lot of time to really go there. And one of the things that's been a great joy about these retirement years is I'm going there with the tarot, and it is currently an obsession for me when it comes to a spiritual tool to get in touch with my wisdom. I'm not reading for others at this point because I'm still exploring it mightily for myself from the perspective of my 62 years as opposed to my 20-something self. So the runes and the staves that were casting of the sticks that had runes on them, and the casting of stones and tarot. And then, almost concurrently, my crystal ball Sophia came into my life. And she, what I would say, is a divination tool because she takes me on journeys inwards. The way she resonates and the things I feel when I hold her. Once again, it's more about the power of that to connect me to patterns and cycles and circles and repetitions, healthy or unwise, in my life. So I would definitely place her in that place of, oh, I don't stare into her and see a tall, dark stranger in my future. That's not my thing. But I think it's because she takes me to my release of everything external and a total journey inward, probably more than any other alliance to something akin to divination that I've experienced. So tarot is very present currently in my life. The stones are, but I don't pick them up as frequently as I used to. And runes, I'm not at this moment spending a lot of time with. Tarot really is my current, it's a need I guess I have to journey through it at this point in my life. One thing that has been consistent, and it came into my life again when I was much younger and then revisited later and had much more impact to me later, is something called the Lover's Wheel. I've searched on YouTube. I don't find anything on the Lover's Wheel. I have met others who use it and, like me, learned it through coven work. It's a little bit tricky to describe, but it uses lots of different influences in consideration of its readings. I get my most powerful readings at present from it, have for a long time. It considers the moon phases and the elements and 8 specific runes and 8 specific goddesses. And it also embraces the lessons learned through the exploration of Tantra that have to do with energy exchange. 8 different forms of energy exchange with others. So whether it means that you give without any thoughts of receiving, or perhaps you receive with no call to extend outward. It could be about balanced energy back and forth. There's 8 different shadings. The Lover's Wheel is something that tarot to me is almost a solitary kind of thing, more about me and my smaller world and my spiritual journey. The Lover's Wheel has always taken me out and beyond and moved me into, even when I didn't want to go there, experience of the world without and those who are in it. I'm actually working on developing a version of the Goddess Wheel for myself, where specific goddesses and specific energies are calling me to make adjustments to the one that I learned. And I'll probably share more about that when I actually get around to creating it. So there's been many forms of divination that have come in and out of my life. I have let others divine for me at various times in my life, whether we were students practicing on each other or whether it was a professional that I paid. Others divining for me is not something, and I don't know if that's part of this topic, but it's not something that has ever, well, rarely, can't say never, but rarely has brought me anything I hadn't figured out on my own. Readers, for some reason, find it difficult to read for me. They don't get definite, from their perspective, offerings. Who knows? That's about perhaps that, and he's a bit self-centered, and if, like, I'm the one that wants to drive the car, not be the passenger in the car. It could be the walls that I put up unintentionally that I've not, except in a few instances, and not even from loved ones. They've been from strangers that didn't know me. I've gotten a few good readings from people that way, and maybe it's because of my take on the forms of divination that I have used as an exploration of my own patterns. So they're patterns I either know well or kind of know that I'm denying. Maybe that's why the external readings haven't worked as well for me. I'd be curious to know, for those of you who read for yourself, the difference between what you experience reading for yourself and when others read for you. I don't know if I'm unique or this is a common experience amongst experienced readers. So those are the forms of divination that I've used. Aside from things like scrying, boil and water, and smoke and flame, cloud watching, watching leaves and shadows, the other things that don't require a manipulation of an item, so much as something which takes you out and away and to a place where you experience insight, inspiration, guidance, put you in touch with some things that either deepen your connection to them or remind you that there are things that are happening, pecking at you, which you are ignoring. So the Lover's Wheel for me has been the consistent thing, the most powerful thing for me when it comes to forms of divination. And right now, tarot would be the thing that is bringing me, let's just say, bringing me the greatest joy, in the sense of revisiting it all these years later. I'm learning more about myself through the journey of the tarot that I have from other sources recently. Connections to the creative and destructive patterns of my life, what I am at my best, what I yearn to be, and deeply about my relationship with others in my life. That's my input to the subject of the week. And I will be back at some point as I complete working on what I'm calling my Goddess Wheel, which is inspired 100%, and I give total credit to all the years I have worked with the Lover's Wheel. That would be it for the topic for this week, and I'm quite proud of myself because I fell behind and now I've caught up. Well done, Annie. This challenge means a lot to me because of all of you who are doing it. I found myself watching and not taking the time to comment, and I apologize for that, but my goal has been to watch and appreciate what everyone's doing. And I truly do appreciate everything I've watched. Be well, my friends. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Merry part.